Fourth grade into math lesson 16.1. Understand multiples of unit fractions. I can represent a fraction as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction and as an equation using repeated addition. Spark your learning. Cam is training for a running competition. He runs on a track that is 1/8 mile around. Cam wants to run a total of 9/8 miles. How many times around the track should Cam run? Okay, so they want two different kinds of equations. We have learned how to do unit fractions and then repeatedly add them, right? So like sometimes they were given like 5, 6, and then we wrote 1, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 6. We wrote it 5 times, right? Okay, so how many times can I write 1/8 to get it 9 times? 9. Okay, so 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. Okay, so I wrote it 9 times, so 1/8 written 9 times gets me 9/8. Now, we also know repeated addition is what? Multiplication, right? Okay, so can I also write 9 times 1/8 equals 9/8? Yeah. Could I do that as well? Okay, so they want to know how many times does Cam need to run around the track to run 9/8 miles? So what did we say? How many times? 9 times. That's how many times we wrote it. Build understanding. A track team uses the sports drink to stay hydrated. If each batch fills 1 jug, how much mix is needed for 1 jug of sports drink, for 2 jugs, and for 3 jugs? Okay, so what do we need to do to find the 1 batch? So can we draw our visual model? So 1 jug, so we would have a rectangle. What's our denominator? What's our denominator? 4. So we need to break this into 4 pieces. So 1 jug would just need 1 section, right? Okay, what about 2 jugs? 2 sections, right? And then what about the 3rd jug? 3 sections. Okay, so for letter A, it says, how can you use multiplication to describe how much mix to use for jug 1, 2, and 3 jugs? So up here, we colored in how many bars? 1, right? So we took 1 times 1/4, and that equals what? 1/4 pound, right? Okay. Up here, how many did we shade in? 2 times 1/4, and what did that equal? 2/4 of a pound. And then for jug 3, we colored in how many? 3 times 1/4 to get us what? 3/4 of a pound. So what do the first 3 multiples of 1/4 represent in the problem? So what was 3 of them? 3/4. How can you determine how much drink mix to use for 7 jugs of sports drink mix? So what would we do? If we had to do 7 jugs, we would color in how many squares? 7, right? So 7 times 1/4 equals what? 7/4 of a what? Pound. If we wanted to, though, simplify that, what would it be?
1 3/4.
So 4 goes into 7 one time. 4 or 7 minus 4 is 3 in our same denominator. Number 2, Vicky trains by running along a trail. The trail has markers every 1/10 of a mile. Vicky runs by 3 markers and then stops for water at the 4th marker. Use the number line to find the distance she runs before she stops for water. Okay, so we know that each one of these, each check mark is equivalent to what? What fraction? 1/10, right? Okay, and it says she goes by 3 markers and then stops at the 4th. So how many jumps do I need to make? 4, right? That's a little deceiving with the way it's worded, right? Because it says she goes by 3 and then she stops at the 4th. So, okay, so we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we said that each one of those was a tenth. So now we have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and 4/10, right? So how did you use the number line to represent the distance Vicky runs before she stops for water? So it said the markers were at what? 1/10 every time, right? Okay, so then we jumped that many times as to where it said and landed and stopped at 4/10, right? Okay, so how can you write an addition equation and a multiplication equation to model the distance Vicky runs using the number of markers and the length of each interval? So if we did addition, we could do what? 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 equals the distance she went, correct? Okay, now how many times did I write 1/10 there? Or how many markers did she make it to? 4. So I can write for our multiplication, 4 times 1/10 equals 4/10. Okay, so how far does Vicky run before stopping for water? 4/10 of a mile. And I won't make you guys, and not miles, just mile. I won't make you guys simplify, okay? Understanding number 1, use the fraction strips to help you complete the equation. So what is, or how many times do you see the blue 1/6 pieces? 5 of them. And then what did we just say each strip was? 1/6. So how would I write 5 times 1/6 as a repeated addition? 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 gets me 5/6 because I have it written 5 times, right? Write the fraction as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. So 3/8 would be what? How many times? Or what's the numerator? 8. The numerator is 8. That's the denominator. Numerator is 3 times, what would be my unit fraction? 1/8. What's my numerator? Oh, sorry, number 3. What's my numerator? 9. So that's going to be my whole number times, what would be my unit fraction? 1/4. What is my numerator? 13. So that's going to be my whole number times, what would be my unit fraction? How do I know what a unit fraction is that has what in the numerator spot? 1 in the numerator spot. On your own, number 5, Alex runs 7 laps on a track. Each lap is 1/5 of a mile. How far does he run? Show each lap on the number line. So we kind of need to fill out our number line, right, guys? So each one of those check marks would be what? What unit fraction or what fraction? They're in 1/5, right? Okay, so we'd have 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, and 9/5. Okay, so how many jumps do I need to make? How many laps did he make? 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so they also want us to do an equation to model this. So how many jumps did he make? 7. So 7 times our unit fraction of 1/5 equals what? 7/5 of a what? Mile. Or 7/5 miles. It's over 1. Okay, number 6. Yanni is putting fertilizer around trees. She uses 1/3 gallon of fertilizer for each tree. There are 5 trees. How much fertilizer does she use? So they want us to do an addition equation and a multiplication equation. Okay, so let's pull out what we have. 1/3 gallon. She has 5 trees. And then how much fertilizer does she use? So how am I going to write that as an addition problem? 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 gets me 5/3. Okay, how would I write that as a multiplication equation? There's 5 trees times my unit fraction of 1/3 equals 5/3 gallons. Number 7, Fonzie is placing square tiles that are 1/4 yard long to make a path. He places 6 tiles end to end. Use multiples to find how long the path is. So pull out our information. 6 tiles, 1/4 yard long. What's going to be my multiplication equation? 6 times 1/4, which equals what? 6/4 yards. Okay. With your groups real quick, do 8 through 11. Those should not take you very long. You're going to have the product of a whole number and a unit fraction as your answer. Okay, so basically for our whole number, we just have to identify what the numerator is, right? What is our numerator on number 8? 7, and then times my unit fraction. And a unit fraction always has 1 in the numerator spot, and it keeps the same denominator. In this case would be 8. So 7 times 1, 8. Number 9, what is my numerator? 3, so that's my whole number, times whole or unit fraction is 1 in the numerator, and then in this case 10 is the denominator. Okay, 4/3, what is my whole number? 4 times my unit fraction, 1/3. 11, what is my numerator? 5 times, what is my unit fraction? 1/6.